then she got pregnant because when I went to try to fix her, they wouldn't let me fix her because she's not my cat. And she was not my cat. Well, the lady that owns her got evicted and was squatting in the house for 2 months. I didn't know she was going to take her. I didn't know she was going to leave her. And I didn't want to spend the money on getting her fixed if a month later she was going to take her. So she had the babies. The babies are all getting ready to go to new homes now. She can be separated from them, but she has not been fixed. She has not been
Hi friends, host Eric here, live streaming on YouTube, live streaming as well in a interactive fashion here, talking with famous people in room 2, where we're getting double archives. Oh yeah. And today I'm talking about MBTI type and relationship. Namely, who's your special someone and why? Who's your special someone and why? Those are the kind of questions I ask here on Talking with Famous People. They're important questions. They're the kind of questions that one would normally ask before one undertakes a process that one should set up in advance. Ow! Fucking piece of shit. No age restrictions here, friends. Only family-friendly content and professionalism, non-stop, 24/7, as they say. Just me and the clown boy, rocking, rolling, talking about relationships. Who sits here? Your special someone or mine? If you're sitting here, it would be yours. And today we're talking about what it means to have a... What does it mean? Yeah, close that door, thank you. What does it mean to seek a relationship or a love relationship in the modern times is another interesting question, and one worth spending a little bit of time addressing. So, obviously, times have changed. When I grew up, back in the late 80s when I was a teenager, people dated in a different fashion than they do now. Dating now is fairly horrible as far as I can tell. A lot of people attempting to see one another in a casual sexual sense without really committing to one another at all or investing in one another. And that's what it means to commit. Somebody is to invest in them. Invest your time and energy, invest your life into them, and they into yours. Is it a good way to go about meeting your reproductive urge needs? There are a lot of alternatives being presented. There's mostly by men, I think, are driving those narratives to a certain extent. There's varying levels of commitment that are determinate or consistent with certain codes of behavior, certain sets of behavior that are based on reproductive elements. So, I know we're getting off to a bit of a slow start here. I didn't come in very well prepared, but I will adjust accordingly. Okay, well, I'm currently making a video. So, the reason I want to talk about relationship types and stuff here today is because I'm basically running away from something that doesn't suit my type very well, which is a bunch of sensory stuff. And I really exhausted my last stretch of nerve regarding it. I'm done playing sensor. But I've had to. It's not anybody's fault, but just the circumstances. I've been moving We're holding a big yard sale today. We're getting very little traffic so far, which is very disappointing. And I don't really want to deal with any more of the physical components of it. It was frustrating this morning. Kim came outside and started just fucking putting shit back in the garage instead of letting anything go. Instead of going through it, she just was like, well, this is my stuff, and I'm keeping this stuff and that stuff and the other stuff. And that was frustrating. But whatever. Basically, I have lots and lots to say about this topic, but mostly just venting and whining at the moment to express it. Sometimes life is difficult. Sometimes life affords you a lot of responsibilities to do a lot of shit you don't want to do. And if you're an ENTP, that's a really tough road to hoe. We don't handle discomfort well. Sustained discomfort's not our thing. So, hold on a second. Hey, Katie!
What?
You come here for a second? Nothing. What did you do? Could you go get us both a pack of cigarettes? You and me each a pack of cigarettes. I think Kim already has cigarettes.
Red, right?
Yeah, you're gonna pack of reds. Thanks. Um. Why have I been able to sustain this incredible burst of SE? That's really what it is, following through on a previously determined course of action. And it's particularly sensory SE because it involves managing a bunch of space objects, which I fucking hate. You know, the only reason I've been able to sustain in this mode of operation for as long as I have is because it's been a function of my duality relationship. So duality will allow you to more or less so duality will allow you to engage with functions you're not comfortable with, like I've been doing lately. It's not fun. It's not something I want to be doing. It has to be done because of the circumstances, and normally I would just somehow not do it, or I don't know, do it differently. You know, do it in ways that are more abrupt and final, like throw everything away, or I don't know. But instead, I've successfully experienced this whole nightmarish trip into SE land because of Kimber. You know, she's made it possible because I'm coming. Because she provides a lot of stuff that's necessary for me to function effectively. So, I was just explaining to Kim how I've been able to function outside of normally possible realms because of our relationship, but that I basically exhausted all my reserves of SE, you know. This kind of stuff, putting a handle on shit, doing it, following through, that's SE. I fucking hate it. It's been a nightmare. And we've done a fantastic job.
But we don't ever want to do it again.
But I'm done, yeah. I'm absolutely done with any of this kind of stuff. And the fact that we're having a nightmarish attendance here is weird, right? It's like, I've never seen a yard sale this big and well put together get this little traffic. I've never seen it before. It's crazy. Okay. So, if I don't know if this live stream is working or not, I'm doing a YouTube live stream that I should be live streaming right now. Is it? It is. Okay. So, that's good. So, if anybody is watching this live stream, I think at the moment, let's see. Zero people are watching.
What would it be under personal?
It would be under yard sales or sales or something like that. Bad video settings. Please choose a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Okay, I will try to do so. I don't know. I don't know how to work this thing anyway. So, okay. Good morning. It goes all the way around the back.
Yeah.
So, the bottom line is this: if anybody is watching the live stream and wants to actually ask me questions about the topic, which is relationships and MBTI type, you can join me here on the Talking to Fence People Raw Live channel in Raw Room 2. That's appear.in appear.in/TWFP2. And I'm going to begin by just start talking about various types and the way in which they manifest their different values. So, we have a lot of different ways as human beings of valuing aspects of our lives. Namely, we could value the achievement of concrete goals. We could value our time, our comfortable time in bed. We could value being perceived as important by others. We could value how much for the boots, Kim?
Oh, $1.
$1 boots. That's some good boots. Right? Good deal on boots there. We could value good deals on boots. We could value We could value being clever. We could value being smart. These different values, most people value all those things to a certain extent, or would say they do if asked about it. But there's, it goes all the way around the back.
$1 each.
So, really, when you are choosing a life partner, significant other, you ought to find. I'm going to shut this live stream off. I'm going to start this over and do it properly.
The little refrigerator, it works? It's brand new, yeah.
Hi, friends. Host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People, and I am restarting over my stream on relationships and MBTI types. I'm going to do.
I'll do 60. I don't really want to go any lower than that.
As you just heard right there, this is my significant other in life, Kimberly, and she is an ISFJ, which, according to Socionics, is my dual. In this live stream, I want to talk about how our different values and the way that we prefer certain kinds of outcomes over other kinds of outcomes ultimately impact significantly our ability to get along with somebody and our sustainabilities of our relationships. So I'm going to begin with Alpha Quadrant, as Socionics talks about its values, and then I'm going to talk about INFJs, who are from a different quadrant. I don't remember which one they are. I think they're Beta Quadrant. Yeah, they're Beta. So the thing is this. In Alpha Quadrant, we are democratic, we are merry, and what that means is we tend to be egalitarian by nature. We don't tend to prefer hierarchy. And we believe in everyone should not be fussy, should be agreeable, and care about being fair in general. Because what does it mean to be democratic and merry? It means to prioritize fairness because it's a TIFE thing. So the democratic part probably comes from the NE. That's implicit in all the alpha types as well. But the key notion there is you're talking about egalitarian people who don't like fussiness in terms of introverted feeling, who prefer deliberation over hastiness of action, and who like to chat, We're a chatty bunch, alpha. Even the INTP is chatty for an introvert. Now, let's talk about INFJ, a beta quadra. Now, they have NI. They're still merry. They prefer a merry atmosphere because they've got TI and FE, and they like shit to be fair. However, they're not so democratic as the ENTP or the INTP or the ISFJ or ESFJ. They are more aristocratic, and the reason is they've got NISE. Now, INFJs get along just swimmingly well with Alpha Quadra because NI is their dominant function, not SE. And if you get an SE person up there, then they don't get along with Alpha Quadra at all because they're about the opposite of deliberation. INFJs, they get deliberation fine because they've got TI, FE, which gives them the objective evaluatory metric, which encourages deliberation. But they've also got NI as their dominant function, which means they are about understanding systems through time. So it makes sense then that an INFJ would be a good. Which one? No, that was not for sale. That's not for sale. No, sorry. Those tools hanging right there are on that fence. Yeah. So quadrant values are going to be a significant factor, but understand that it's not exactly just a quadrant value. It's a matter of how we understand shit. You know, it's like, how do we understand it? Do we understand it as a matter of if it's fair, or do we understand it if it's a matter of it's effective? Do we understand it as a matter of are we comfortable with it personally? Is it consistent with what we like and don't like? Or do we evaluate it as, is it successful in dealing with people's motivations? Is it successful in managing people's perceptions of me? Do other people think of me like I want them to, or do I think of other people like I want them to if we do this shit? These conflicts that are going to naturally arise if you have the wrong sets of cognitive functions will ensue because you've got the wrong sets of values. And I mean, neither party's wrong in their values. It's that they're wrong for each other. They don't match up. So my last two relationships have been with Quadra mates, an ESFJ and now an ISFJ.
Oh, that's whatever. 145 for
So, did Katie come back yet? How long does it take her to go get 2 packs of cigarettes? I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't like waiting. So, the thing is, even if you have somebody who's the bright quadra, and if you have somebody who's got the same conscious stack as MBTI says, as you, there still may very well be conflicts because I didn't quite get it. What? Let's put this slider. Why is Katie not back with my cigarettes yet? Well, I mean, I didn't send her to go fucking to the North Pole. Maybe it's because the trash can's out in front. Maybe it looks trashy or something. I don't know. So for people who have conflicting values, then there's going to be obviously conflict in how they deal with each other. If one person's looking constantly towards effectiveness and efficiency as their primary mode of existence, then they're going to run afoul of an INFJ or an ISFJ who has extroverted thinking in the place of least resistance, or 7th slot, the blind spot, as it were. Thank you. Here's Katie with my cigarettes. Where the fuck is she going? Why the fuck is she parking way down there? So, let's say you are an INFJ. according to socionics, your dual is an ESTP. And the reason is because they have the same middle two functions, which for you guys are the judging functions. Hello, Kato. Is that Kato?
Oh, what's up?
Not much. I'm talking MBTI relationship types.
Cool.
And I'm talking about who you should get with. So, we're just going to discuss INFJ and
Yeah. INFJ.
an ESTP. $5. Which friend? $2.
$1.
Alright, shit.
$1. You get a picture. You get a picture of the best dog ever too. Husband. I'm your husband, Kim.
You're married?
No, not really. I just like to call her my wife. I like her to call me her husband. We're not actually married. Well, why do I like that? You want me to show you how the thing works? Okay, yeah. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to YouTube. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's
So never going to stop.
We'll see.
You guys have like a morning or 5 till 8 something. I just posted it.
We're a little late on the posting, so it's okay. So anyway, INFJ ESTP, would they work? Is that nuts? Should that be the case? Well, I guess it might work. If you have the right ESTP, I think it probably would. Because here's the thing. ESTPs are all about following through on stuff. Doesn't matter if it's a good idea or a bad idea, crazy or not crazy. They're just going to follow through on it. Well, we decided it at some point, so we're going to follow through. And then the opposite is true of INFJs, with their 4th slot SE and their 7th slot TE, they're all about not doing anything. So I can imagine them balancing each other out. Obviously, ESTP needs INFJ, it seems to me, more than INFJ needs ESTP. Because ESTP without INFJ is like Donald Trump. And you don't want to be that. You're just kind of a joke. No, that's a trash can. That's our trash can. So the ESTP needs the NI badly. That's what makes them kind of like not likable to me. It's a combination of no NI or seeking NI. Like, I can't figure out whether this is right or wrong. You know, I can't figure out whether it's okay or not to roofie this chick. Like, that's ESTP in a nutshell. Well, why can't they figure out if it's okay or not? Because they got 4th slot NI and they're stupid. Anyway, that's why they need INFJ. INFJ will come in and say, and be all like,
Prophesize.
what am I, fridge? Okay. Let me go carry some. Connor, talk about relationships and MBTI type while I'm gone. We're live streaming.
Okay. Yeah. What about, man? Okay, so man, too many things to talk about. Give me a suggestion, Eric. Can you hear me?
No, he's putting a fridge in a car. This is Katie.
Okay. Katie, give me a suggestion about relationships.
Relationships?
Yeah, that's what I talk about.
How many are you in?
How many am I in?
Yeah.
One. I should be in like 5.
No, I was going to tell you if you're in 5, you might want to narrow it down to 1. That would be like your first step.
Yeah.
Do you know what type she is?
Yeah, INFP.
INFP?
Yeah.
What kind of advice do you need?
No, I don't need advice, but I mean, I guess. Can you speak about
There. Eric will come up with a better subject for you.
Okay, never mind.
So,
My brain is fuzzy. I just woke up.
I can imagine that ESTP would benefit a great deal from INFJ, but that INFJ might feel ESTP is a little bit lacking in the intuition department. Now, the reason for this is because INFJs are one of those cross quadra types that's merry, because they got TIFE, and they're not necessarily democratic, because they got NISE. But because they got NI, the NITIFE thing creates a lot of deliberative nature in them, which is consistent with Alpha Quadrant. Whereas SETIFE creates a more, like a shallower FE manifestation. So like ENTPs manifest their need to be loved as this kind of stuff more, and ESTP manifests their need to be loved as like I got the most badass car and I slay the most puss, you know. And so on that grounds, I suspect INFJ wants to be slayed probably in that fashion, but she possibly doesn't find it sustainable as a relationship. It's one reason why I think INFJ and ENTP might be as good a match as the duality in that quadrant. I think duality works perfectly for ENTP and ISFJ, so there might not be an advantage for the ENTP, but it depends on the individual ENTP possibly as well. I'm not sure duality works perfectly for all other types. For example, I think INFP and ESTJ are... Oh, there's one right here. So, the thing is, like, that kind of shit happens to me and Kim constantly. Where did we lose the whatever is our favorite. Okay, Kim doesn't want to be in the front. Yeah, where did we lose our whatever is constant? Because ISFJ loses shit too.
Well, INFP, ESTJ.
Right. But INFP, ESTJ, they're going to be a problem. INFP is going to lose shit too. Why? NE is the second function. FI is not very organizational. SI is in the third slot. They'd like to be organized. It's like, I'd like to be loved. But in the moment, they're not necessarily very organized. They got TE fourth, so they don't really, they seek knowledge about how to do things. And they got SE freaking seventh, so they don't do anything, just like INFJs. And then you got ESTJ, who's all about getting shit handled, right? That's the thing, is where's the SE? SE is 6 for ESTJ. But because they're TE DOMs, they manifest a lot more SE and a lot more comfortably than I, for example, manifest 6-slot TE. And as a consequence, they're going to run afoul of the INFP's fundamental uselessness all the time. And I'm not dissing INFPs when I call them useless. They are fundamentally useless, but that doesn't make them not valuable. I think they're extremely valuable life partners to somebody who needs that. And I guess that would be the ESTJ, but the problem is I've known enough ESTJs to understand they don't really seek that much FI. They don't seek it that much. They don't seek it the way that I seek SI. And I don't think they have to get it from an INFP necessarily. I think they might be better off getting it from an ISFP, who is, I think, generally much more effective in life than an INFP. I think ESTJ, ISFP might be a preferable relationship type there. And the reason being the SE in the second slot for the ISFP is going to make them a lot more handly, and that's what's consistent with what the ESTJ wants. So, that's an example of where I think duality might not end up quite flying all the way. Again, for anybody who is watching this live stream, I don't know if anybody is or not, but if anybody is, if you'd like to join us asking kind of questions about relationships, MBTI types, oh yeah, 9 people are watching. What do you know? That's pretty good. Kimberly, I wonder if you could be a lamb.
Lamb.
Could you be a lamb? Refill my coffee.
I need coffee.
She's being a lamb. Thank you, lamb. So, the next types I would like to talk about are the INTP and the ESFJ types, and talk about how their duality would work. I think that INTP ESFJ is a perfect duality pairing, provided the INTP is old enough. I think younger INTPs will chafe beneath the controlling nature of the ESFJ. It takes until an INTP is fully engaged in their ideas and their metacognition and stuff for them to want to delegate all the stuff that the ESFJ wants to take over. Now, unlike ENTP, INTP has 4th slot FE, which means they actually seek it, and they want their significant other, whether they say it or not, to make sure that they are perceived as they want to be perceived. INTP cares a lot about perceptions. They care a lot about how they're perceived. They care more about how they're perceived, really, in a moment-to-moment kind of way than does ENTP, who cares a great deal about how he's perceived. So the thing is, for those of us who have it in the third or fourth slot, you can see us caring about how we're perceived more clearly than you can for those with it in a more dominant or secondary slot. So, for example, INFJ cares a great deal about how they're perceived, but they don't really display their care about that. You can't really see it because they're better at being perceived how they want to be perceived, you know. Whereas ENTP is kind of like, hey, look at me. We're not kind of like it. We're totally like, hey, look at me, everybody. And that's kind of a clumsy way to be perceived how you want to be perceived, because you're mostly perceived as somebody who goes, hey, look at me all the time. Anyway, INTP, however, doesn't like to have to manage that manner of shit at all. They'd like to be perceived as smart, competent, logical, not emotional, not swayed by nonsense, but they don't want to have to manage that shit. The FE Dom will give them all the validation they want, which is quite a bit, really, without asking them to be capable in return on the same domain of thing. They'll provide all that is sought. I know this because I was married to an ESFJ. It didn't quite work out for us, in part because I didn't seek that much FE. For me, FE is kind of a I can do it myself mom kind of a thing. And for ESFJ, it's I'm going to do it for you, and you're going to follow along, and we're all going to follow along with Candace's script, you know. It's not, however I might put that, it's not a bad deal. To say you're going to go along with Candace's script was not a bad deal. Candace's script was, let's be a happy family, let's you know, go on family vacations, let's, good morning, goes all the way around the back of the house. And so I think for an INTP who's a little bit more on the mature side, you know, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, ESFJ will start to become perfect. As they get more involved in like a career or something, INTP will not want to think about FE shit at all. And that's when the ESFJ will come in and structure for the INTP this family life that looks great and that makes the INTP feel as though they're attaining not only FE that they seek, but also the third slot FI, which has as its hidden agenda a realized identity over time. However, I think for younger INTPs, they will find ESFJ a little smothering. INTP doesn't like to be controlled too much. ESFJ can be a little bit of controlling. However, the epistemological action axis of SINE is in their middle functions. It's their tool functions. It's their, you know, tertiary. So they're both judgers fundamentally, and that means that they are both kind of. They like things to be binary in their. They like things to be binary in their status in a non-time dependent sense. They don't like shit to be ongoing forever. Like, it's fine, it doesn't matter really where we're going, it just matters that we're moving generally in the right direction, is not a good enough answer for INTP. I know this because I've been in a sort of relationship-y thing with one of them, and and I'm not even talking about, we weren't even talking about the relationship, I'm just talking about like businessy stuff. They want more certainty than ENTP likes. And the reason isn't because of anything other than they've got their evaluatory metrics as their 1 to 4, and we've got our preceding metrics as our 1 to 4. And it makes a huge difference. If you're an NE Dom, you want to be with an SI Dom. You don't want to be with an FE Dom. Because, first of all, you got 2 extroverts, and that can be fun. There's lots of good conversation back and forth. But the thing is, ESFJ ultimately is kind of banal in their conversation, and there's only a certain amount. And ENTP can adapt like hell. I mean, like, we'll make it interesting one way or the other. We'll figure out ways to make their conversation interesting. They're a lot more chatty than ISFJ. But the thing is, there came a point where I got tired of listening to her because she would just talk about the same kind of.
Yeah.
So then Judy, well, she went to blah 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 blah, but didn't she blah blah blah? And she said blah 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 blah, and I thought, that girl. You know, and the thing is, it's fine. I don't mind that kind of talk. I'm gossipy. I like gossip, but there's a finite amount of it. You know, one has a finite stomach for gossipy stuff, and there's not a lot more to an ESFJ's talking. It's good relational analysis. They're good at. No, the bicycles are not for sale. Yes, this is a live stream. We're live streaming. No, we're live streaming. Would you like to ask a question about relationships and MBTI types? Or would you like to add something? Cognitive functions and love relationships. That's the topic of this live stream. Cognitive functions and love relationships. Love is an emotion that you can get sometimes. It's kind of like a virus. It infects your heart. It causes you to have feelings. Feelings will erupt in angry words sometimes, passive aggressiveness, scolding. Pretty much, as far as I can tell, they don't really. Well, they have occasional good manifestations, but mostly feelings cause bad things, as far as I can tell. And mostly bad feelings are the ones you remember. So it's why it's important to get with the right kind of person who understands how you understand feelings. If you're an INTP, you don't think much about feelings either. ESFJs don't actually care much about feelings either because they're really all about perceptions. ISFJs care a little bit more about feelings. If you're a moist ENTP like me, I'm a pretty moist one. I got a lot of feelings sloshing around. Not that I know what to do with any of them. They all just come out in me being mad at Kimberly. It's like, I'm feeling too much. God damn it. You must have done something wrong. Yeah. But so you got to have somebody who understands feelings, like Kimberly does, but doesn't value them very much. Actually countervalues them. So she'll, like when I love you so much, sometimes she'll just roll her eyes at me.
What's the most versatile MBTI type? Which like you think is like, if it's mature, can like go?
ENTP, of course. The stats prove this is actually true. That if you look at relationship satisfaction with type, ENTPs express the most satisfaction with the most different kinds of types. And the reason is because we don't value our feelings. So here's the thing. If we're not $1, we don't value our feelings. So if most of the time we don't get our feelings hurt very easily. Now, I have, as in my own personal experience, this doesn't happen though if you're in love. okay? Like, I'm madly in love, and it doesn't work out like that at all. It's like I get my feelings hurt super easy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm the most sensitive fucking guy in the world. It's ridiculous.
that's
Like,
funny. Yeah.
I feel like, well, Kimberly said it. She says I'm the girl in the relationship.
I like being a girl in a relationship.
You do? Well, I can't
Yeah.
help it.
Yeah.
It's because of love. Anyway, it's mostly probably, well, it's a really good deal, but it's also kind of like you get burned with a lot of feelings. You care a lot of that shit all of a sudden. This guy didn't used to care about anything, really. I cared about shit here and there for a little while, you know. Now all of a sudden I got to care about everything all of a sudden. That's the downside of being in love. You're no longer indifferent. But I'd still highly recommend it. You gotta get in love with somebody who gets in love with you just as much. That's the key thing. Yeah, don't play like you don't care. That's gay. I don't mean homosexual. You know what I mean.
I do it.
Yeah, that's the worst. In my opinion, that's the worst thing you can do in life is to be like, I'm going to protect myself by caring less on purpose. You got to care how much you care, and if it doesn't fly, it doesn't fly, and then you have to be able to stop caring once you decided it doesn't fly. But there's nothing to be gained in life without. Well, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, as was quoted by homeboy Jimmy B in his famous speech, nothing great in life is ever accomplished without enthusiasm, and that includes a relationship. As I'm sure if you were to ask her, she'd confirm that I'm very enthusiastic about the relationship, highly enthusiastic. I am no holds barred in terms of expressing my.
It goes all the way around.
Let me ask you here, Michael Family.
Oh,
Have you got any old license plates around?
License plates? Nope. Sorry.
no.
Any signs?
Not the kind probably not the old kind you're looking for.
You're more than welcome to just browse around and see what we have in the back if you can make it. It wraps around the entire house. If you go. Okay, well, whatever you'd like.
So, what was I saying?
It's got.
Yeah, I'm easily distracted.
No, I mean in general, this is like I see what you're doing, but
Good morning.
what about the ISFP, man? That's like a strain.
Yeah.
I've had one.
Well, ISFPs would work for an ENTP as well. ISFP would be a good type for an ENTP. Taylor seems to be do just fine with Katie. I've dated briefly an ISFP, and I can imagine.
Is it on the bottom?
I can imagine such a relationship being very easy because ISFPs are quite simple, and it's
all the way down.
it doesn't mean that you can understand them easily. It just means that they're very simple. You can't understand them at all because they're FI DOMs, so they're a mystery. But they're simple, like, you know, hey, how you doing? I'm fine. So tell me about yourself. I like television. You know, it's like that kind of shit, right? So they're easy to get along with. And ENTPs, if they don't care very much about their own moisture, if they don't feel a need to be passionately connected to somebody, then it's a perfectly good relationship. Hey, this is yours. So, I mean, I think those are the 3 possible types of ENTPs you get with are ISFJ, INFJ, ISFP. I think we do fine with ISTJ as well. I don't know any chick ISTJs, but I know a dude ISTJ, and he and I get along great. And I think it's fair to say that we value each other quite a bit. He values me with his 3rd slot FI by doing nice things for me and stuff, helping me out with TE shit mostly, because he's a TE creative function. I can imagine that if he were a chick, you know, if ISTJ chick is the same kind of way, then the ENTP would like that a lot, because she'd be helping with the 6th slot TE. He'd have to be mature enough to be cool with passing off the TE to his woman, which, you know, some guys aren't going to be cool about.
What about yeah? Oh yeah, John asked a question.
Oh, okay, I should look at the chat.
Yeah.
It's taking a second to pop up.
That's
Can you read it to me, Kato?
Yeah. Is there a specific reason why you didn't include extroverts in the mix?
I use it for baby kissing.
Peace.
That's what I want to do that with.
I do think it's possible to have a good extrovert relationship. I think that if Kimberly turned out to be an ESFJ, I think we'd probably still be working out fine. She'd be doing a lot more stuff. I'd be kicking back more. But I mean, I wouldn't be in love though like this. It would be like, okay, this is a good relationship. This is effective. I'm getting my needs met. It would be like that.
Yeah.
And so the thing is,
Not for sale.
How about any extroverted intuitives? Ooh.
yeah, well, you know, you throw ENFP in the mix there, and you got yourself a serious problem. If you don't have an ENFP ENTP relationship, you're looking at a nightmare, because they are 7 slot TI, which means every single argument is going to be FI versus TI. There's going to be no seeing eye to eye about anything. They're going to deny the fundamental objectivity of your evaluatory metric, even though it is fundamentally objective, whereas theirs is fundamentally subjective. And it's going to drive the ENTP absolutely insane. I went on a date one night with an ENFP that I met on OkCupid, and this date began with me trying to parsing out her politics a little bit, and then just us getting into a quick fight, and then not talking about politics for the rest of dinner, and having a pleasant enough rest of dinner, both of us knowing that, well, that was a waste of time before we even ate, you know, because we had already fought about politics. Because we're sitting there in this fancy restaurant in Glendale that I'm taking her to, right? And it's like, you know, like $25 a plate or whatever. And she starts in with the anti-capitalist shit. I'm like, you cannot be that stupid. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. You cannot go to this, you cannot be like, what is she? She's like a librarian, right? You know, for like UCLA or something. And she's got strongly leftist politics without any reason behind any of them. Oh, that's Russian. That's an authentic Soviet propaganda poster. That's from Moscow. I got that in Moscow. It says, attention school children. School children, protect your textbooks. protect your textbooks. Your young comrades will need them in the coming school year. Will need them in the coming school year. That's what it says.
ENTP, ISTP.
ENTP, ISTP. Well,
that would never be warm.
okay. If you were going to have that relationship, the ENTP would have to be the dude, and the ISTP would have to be the chick, because ISTP has 7-slot NE. They're going to be you're going to be their supervisor forever. Okay. That's a supervisor relationship, and it's school children. Protect your textbooks. Your young comrades will need them in this coming school year. Coming school year. Translating a poster. Anyway, so yeah, I got that in Moscow at the marketplace. They had a bunch of old propaganda posters. They were expensive even back when I got it. It was like $25 in Moscow. Wow.
We got that in Moscow. Well, okay.
See, Kim?
I thought it was.
Anyway, ISTP. Kim's son is an ISTP, and he's smart. He's a TI Dom. He can hang with me for quite a while in an argument, as long as he initiates it, because then he's got it all thought out ahead of time. But he's got that 7-slot NE, and when he runs out of stuff he's got prepped, he runs out of stuff. And I'm a supervisor type, and so we positioned against each other a little bit at the beginning, and I think I was very good with the FE, I have to say. And also, you could just feel the nature of the relationship being as socionics indicates it is, that it's it's one in which one party has an unfair advantage over the other, basically. Now, I was also in briefly a ENTP-INFP relationship, where the INFP is the supervisor type, and it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable position to be in. You're always in trouble. No guns.
Yeah.
No firearms. No firearms stuff. It's too bad. Not much of a gun culture anymore. Not a lot of people into guns anymore. Oh.
I think some INFP related.
And I want to see the poster.
Okay.
This is what the poster looks like. There's the poster. It says, "School children, protect your treasures."
Too bad. If there was a fair condition, I would buy it.
Yeah.
Looks like it's without the weather.
Yeah, it's not in perfect shape.
The cardboard's blown.
Well. Right. It's $40. That's what I'm asking for.
I have a comment about the INFP.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in a relationship with INFP. It's doomed.
Yeah.
But
it's doomed.
I enjoy it. I don't ever let doom scare me, in the short. It never scares me in the short term. But what was I gonna say?
The thing is, what you probably get from her is this feeling of FI love that radiates from them, that they do, that thing they do.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. and it's very appealing,
Yeah.
but it's also a trap.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
like it's totally a trap.
Well, I think me and you are more on the moist side. So
Oh yeah, we love the moisture. Kato, you and I can go swimming all day long.
all day long until we get tired and we cramp up and we sink.
And then we
Right
get
on.
mushy. First
Then
we're
we-
enjoying the moisture, then we get bad moist. Then we get like sleet. We go from rain to sleet.
Yeah, we get a cramp. Yeah, I think the fundamental problem for me, 'cause I think I have plenty of FI, and obviously I don't understand it. That's the big thing. I don't understand the FI, but also I think it's the TE. It's that fourth slot TE that honestly I think is a bigger problem because I'm
All the way around.
Yeah,
My-
well, yeah, they the 4th slot TE combined with the 7th slot SE. They don't know how to do shit, and they don't know what to do. They can't do shit, and they don't know how to do it. It's a double whammy. They're the most useless of all types.
and they want you to do it for them, and because I'm demonstrative, I'm like, yeah, here's how to do it. Go do it. And if like I don't make her do it, she won't do it.
Or they'll say, I really want this to happen. And you go, okay, well, I've done X, Y, and Z now. All you have to do is A, and then I'll do B, C, and D. And they'll go, A? But, let me feel about A for a while.
Yeah. I got her hooked up with because she's a college student, and I'm like, yeah, you're in a lot of debt. Maybe you should start working. I don't want to tell you what to do with your life. I was like, do you want to work? And she's like, yeah, I probably should. And I was like, all right, well, this is where I work in my second job. I'll give you a job there, most likely. And she was like, okay. And then like a week later, I was like, did you turn in an application? She was like, I was going to, but I don't see myself. Probably wouldn't like it there. And I was like, okay. I just like dropped it.
What she really meant was, I might not like it there.
Yeah. And because I don't care about TE, like I like care about TE so she can just be happy and just so she can just like be like, yeah, here's TE, get away from me.
Right. But the thing is, you don't care about TE, and you don't value SE really,
Wow.
but you need somebody else to value those things.
Yeah.
In some capacity. That's the thing, is your partner is either, there's a couple of different things. You want to not care about the same things your partner doesn't care about, but you also want to care about the same things your partner does care about, but you also want them to care about shit that you care about but don't want to deal with. And that's the problem with INFP. They won't deal with anything that you care about but don't want to deal with. They'll bring any in the second slot. Well, you got plenty of any. You don't need their help with that.
Yeah.
What is that? Oh, magic cards. Well, for that box, like $10. I mean, they're valuable, I guess. You have to go through them, though. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll take 5.
So there's a whole box of those boxes too. There's lots of those cards in there. You can't, if they want the whole thing, it's like $25 for the whole thing. Cam, trust me, don't for the whole blue thing, and it's a steal at that. The thing is, fine, sold. Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah. The thing is, like, Kim, the PS3, I don't think it works. I'm not sure. I don't have the plug that goes. I don't have anything else with it besides that. The thing is, like, Kim provides a lot of SI for me, obviously.
Yeah.
$15.
15.
Records? $1 a piece. My battery's running low, so I'm gonna plug in over here. Right, so values are, I don't know. It doesn't have any plugs or anything with it, so. Okay, well you can try it out if you want. Okay. So, yeah, it's the INFP. They don't provide anything that we seek. They provide a little bit of SI, which is in the third slot. They seek TE, which we don't value, and 10. No, just that. So, now we're getting all this action around here. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to wrap up this MBTI love relationships thing. If anybody who's watching the live stream wants to come and ask any questions, something, you can come to appear.in/CWFP2. You can type questions in the chat here, or you can ask them on mic or on camera if you want to. So the thing about type is that's what it's ultimately about. It's about what you want somebody else to deal with, what you wish didn't exist at all. Like what I wish didn't exist at all really is my 8th slot. I like FI kinda. It causes me all kinds of problems, but I kinda like it. But I hate SE. So fortunately, Kim is ignoring SE in the 5th slot. And that's a useful place for it to be. As SI Dom, she does SE shit all the time. She's always picking up the house. She walks through the house. She picks up shit. She has to mop the floor before we go to bed. All that kind of nonsense. Why? Because she's doing SE all the time, but it's ignored. She just sees it as SI manifesting in the real world. Which means that my finding SE stuff evil generally doesn't run afoul of her values at all. The thing is also, because I'm so distant from my body, her being very body focused, SI dominant, SE ignoring, means that I am able to connect with my physical being a lot more in this environment, in this relationship, than I ever was prior to being. In general, I advocate for duality, but I don't think it's the only kind of relationship that works for everybody. I do believe that an ENTP is well served indeed to get with an ISFJ, and you won't go wrong if you do. And if you're an ENTP male, it shouldn't really be that difficult to find one. There's a lot of ISFJ chicks out there. It's just that they tend to already be in relationships. They tend to get in relationships. ISFPs are good for ENTPs as well. ISFPs or INFJs or ISTJs might work, or even INTPs. I wouldn't go extrovert in general. If you are going to go extrovert, I think the only possibility is ESFJ, and that might work, but you'll have a results process conflict over time that'll just grow and grow, because ENTP will continually go, why are we caring about this stupid shit? It doesn't matter. You're caring about the symbols of benchmarks rather than the actual process of being in a relationship, and I don't understand that.
Guys, it goes all the way around.
That's also what Kimberly says about my anus. It goes all the way around.
2 things.
I don't know what that means, Katie.
Two things.
All right, so thanks for watching Talking to Fence People. I hope you enjoyed this unusual live stream. Now we're able to live stream again. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese, without which you will die.